Welcome back to the Credit Guys channel. I am King Dash. This is Queen T. And we have some more information for you about credit. Today's topic is
Authorized users.
authorized users. What is an authorized user? So we're going to get into detail about that. And we have a few more topics for you. So stay tuned. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. Authorized user. What is an authorized user? An authorized user is when you or someone else, if you choose to pay for it, it's a cert it's a couple different ways to go about being an authorized user. You yourself can add someone on as an authorized user. So what happens when you add them on as an authorized user? You take all their information and you add them to your particular card, and whatever you have on that card, your age, your payment history. Hopefully it's all good, because if it's not, it's gonna affect them in a negative way. But your age and your payment history, all that will go to them, almost like a mirror image, right? What they have, or what you have, they now have, right? So for someone who has no credit at all, an authorized user is a very useful tool to get your credit up in a short period of time. What do I mean in a short period of time? I would say about a week. I would say anywhere from 7 to 10 days. You can go from having no credit to, if the payment history is good and if the age is good, to being in the mid sevens in about a week. So if you're paying for an authorized user, meaning that you pay somebody some money and they add you on, or if you go to a company and you pay that company money and they then add you on as an authorized user, whoever that person information is, the limit, right, the credit limit, the credit age, and the payment history, all that then come to your report as if it's your information. So that's the big thing with authorized users. Anything you want to add in?
I'll add in that I know sometimes there's a debate. Is it good to add an authorized user? Is not. Is it not good to add an authorized user? That's a debate as well, because some people don't want to add you. So you want to find somebody who you do trust, um, a family friend, a parent, maybe a spouse, and you want to make sure they, do have that good history, because if they did start paying, account late, that's going to reflect on you as well. Even though they say doing you a favor, but you want to make sure, their history is good. And if you can't find anyone, because sometimes some people do not want to do that, you can just get a third party. Sometimes it's just easier to sign up for a company to do an authorized user. That way you don't have to feel like you're asking anyone or begging anyone to do anything. You'll just take care of it yourself.
Yeah.
So, I think sometimes too that's just an easier route. The cheaper route is to get a family or friend,
Absolutely.
to do it. Hopefully, like I said, they have good credit, but then, good age, with all that. So sometimes that's hard to find sometimes.
It is. And to piggyback off of that, also a lot of times, people may run into, uh, I don't I don't want that person to have a copy of my card or whatever it may be. Well, they don't necessarily get a copy of your card, right? So what may happen is when you add them as an authorized user, all you need to do as for the address, right? You put your address, and whatever was gonna go to them, it'll come to you. And if you're doing a third party, there is no card really being sent out. You're just adding them on as an AU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we would just need, like I said, that person's name, their social, and like I said, the address. But most likely it will be your address. You know, if you're gonna send that card to them, it will be their address. But they, and then it depends on what your agreement is. Some people do want that card to use, and then some people just do want that credit age, or just to be added to build their credit. So it just really depends on what you guys' agreement are. If it's a family or friend, so you want to make that very clear at the beginning. What exactly are you using the card for? Are you going to be spending any money or not, or do you just want that credit on yours?
Yeah, there you go. Just giving out them gems. Um, Again, like to piggyback on that. Right, you heard it here first. Right, that's how you do it. Um, Also, right, some people may say, well, what kind of AUs am I looking for? What in particular? You want to look with something when you're searching for AUs. Credit age is key. What do I mean by credit age? How long has that account been open? Right, because the banks, they want to see that you have age. You've been making payments for a long period of time. So you want to look for something at least at a minimum 2 years old, 2 to 3 years old. Right, the limit it isn't a big factor unless you're trying to offset high utilization that's already on your report, and you add a higher limit on your AU, which would in essence it would bring down your overall utilization. Now, I just like we talked about in earlier segments, if an individual card have a high utilization, it's gonna hit you hard either way. Okay, so age is key. You want something at least 2 years old on the AU account. Limit limit could be it could vary. You know, the higher the better, but it's not the main factor. Age is the main factor because the bureaus or the banks, they want to be able to they want to know that you've been making good payments for a long period of time. And with that being said, you need to make sure that they've been making good payments. Uh, Whatever AU you choose should have no late payments, whether if you go third party or if you do a family member. If you do a family member, ask them multiple times, right? Do you have any late payments?
Or maybe ask them, can you see the account first?
Or do that. Ask them, can you see it? Right? Because even if they do, just one. That's all it takes, just one. Even they have just one, right? Remember, now their information becomes yours. And then there you go. All right, it'll either hurt you, or help you. So,
Yeah, but
right.
hopefully you have someone who's willing to help, who does have it, and it's gonna work beneficial for both of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the goal.
Right. And if they don't know, ask them to go look before adding you on.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way they can go back and look and say, okay, no late payments. Right, the utilization is low, and all right, we all good. And then that works from there. Right, we talked about credit age a little bit. All right, so let's get into that. Credit age accounts for 15% of your credit score. So you have your payment history 35%, credit utilization 30%, and your credit age 15%. That's 80% of your score right there. If you can get those three things under control, right, you'll be okay. Right, the other 20%, we'll touch on those two a little later on. But right, the three major things is your payment history, your credit utilization, and your credit age. So on a score, if you want to know around about what a grade age is, will probably be anything 7 years or older. 7 years or older is good, is A1 age to the creditors. 7 years or older. A B age would be 5 to 7, and then downward from there. So
One other thing too, and what I realized that you don't want to add too many new credit cards, even though it's nice to get those cards and try to apply for them, but the more cards you get, especially newer cards, the more your credit age go down. So do not apply for too many credit cards too fast and too new of an age, because that will bring your credit age all the way down.
that was real good. You heard that? You heard that? And to branch off of that, you may say, okay, I don't want to mess up my age, but I need higher limits. How do I do that without opening up new accounts? What you can do, if you have a card and you've had that card, for at least 4 to 6 months, and you haven't had an increase, right, then you need to ask for an increase immediately. And then every 6 months after that, you need to ask for an increase. Now, certain cards, you can ask for an increase every 90 days. If you have a Navy Federal card, right, you get that card, right, you use it, you make your payments for 90 days. After 90 days, ask for an increase. They're going to give you an increase. You do the same thing. Another 90 days, they're going to give you another increase. Okay? If you have a Amex card, it's the same thing. After 90 days, ask for a 3x increase. After another 90 days, ask for another 3x increase. Another thing with Amex, once you get in the door, right, there are no more hard inquiries. It's just soft pulls. So why not maximize that? Okay. So if you don't want to bring your age down, and you have cards, and you haven't asked, and you haven't had an increase since you got the card, you need to immediately ask for an increase. If your limit on your card is, I don't know, $300, ask for an increase to $500. If your limit on your card is $500, ask for an increase to $750. If you up there and your limit on your card is $3K, ask for an increase to the $5K. Unless you have an Amex, then you're gonna 3x it. If your limit is 1,000, ask for 3. If it's 3, ask for 9. If it's 9, ask for 27. If you're up there and it's 27, then ask for 72. 1. All right. So that's what you do. Ask for an increase. Right, depending on your card. Right, the months may vary, but on average, even the hardest ones, every 6 months, ask for an increase, and they will give it to you. Make your payments on time, of course. Keep your utilization no higher than 30%. But to maximize, get the maximum amount of points, you want that utilization at 3% or less, and that is on each individual card. Queen T, any more for the people on that topic?
No, I think you covered everything for that topic.
Okay. Next, we are going to get into
So one thing I wanted to get into is that, and I run into a lot of people who says, "Hey, I don't have any credit. I was taught just to not get credit. I was taught to use cash." So, what advice would you give those people who only been taught to use cash?
Um, well, I would say if you were taught to use cash, as a lot of us were, right. You're in
Yeah,
the
but
right
that's a
place.
myth.
It is. It
Yeah,
is. It is a myth, and you are in the right place, right? Because we're gonna tell you here first and foremost, use credit for everything. Use the cash to pay back your credit. Why is that? Because right, you're gonna get paid to use your credit, so why not do that? And it keeps you safer. As we talked about in previously, if you're using cash or you're using your debit card, something happened, even 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 if their customer service is the best, it's just a process. It's a hassle, and it's a lot that you have to go through. But if that same things happen with credit, right? Number one, it's not your money, it's their money, right? So you already feel better, right? Then number two, they're gonna take care of it, and you're not even gonna have to go through all that hassle. It's less stress on you, right? But understand that credit is king, and right, the myth of don't use credit, that is exactly what it is a myth. Right, you need credit. It is extremely important, and any chance you get, you need to use it. But then use your cash or your debit card to then pay the credit, uh,
I
to pay it
think
back.
one of the major thing too, just touching back on the other subject you were talking about, is your credit history. What's that's one of the major thing and the major myth is that if you use cash, you don't have a history, you don't have a credit file. So if you bought a car in cash, it's not going to show up on your credit report. So you can be 30 without anything on your credit report because we're taught not to use our credit or not to apply for credit, which hurts us at the end. So you want to have that so it can build your credit file. It can build your credit age, your credit limit, and it shows you how to use credit as well. So those are
Exactly.
the main things.
Yeah, always want to build up your credit, and just as an example, let's just say, you know, right, for whatever reason, hopefully after being on this channel, you understand the power of credit and how to use it, but let's just say that you will cash everything. I would say initially, maybe you want to do something like this, right? You're going to get a car, and you pay cash 100%. I don't know why, but maybe that's what you want to do. If that car costs, I don't know, let's say 10 grand, won't you pay 9 grand cash, and then just do payments for the next 10 months? Right. With that alone will help build up your credit, because you will need it. Why will you need it? Because you can have all the cash in the world and no credit, or your credit is not good, and you go somewhere. Let's just use a vehicle. Everybody knows vehicles, and you go somewhere to get a vehicle. Right. You may have all the cash of how much the car costs, and you could potentially leave out of that dealership without that car because your credit is bad and the banks won't do it. Now, let's just say you don't have a penny to your name. But have a good credit score. You'll go into that dealership, leave with whatever vehicle you want, and not have to put anything down. Not only will you leave with one, if you want two, they'll give you that. See, you gotta weigh the options. Credit is king. Now, cash is always good, but credit is king. You can have all the cash in the world, but a bad score, and you might not get something. Right? You got the credit and no cash, you're gonna get it. So you need to build your credit up. Use your cash to pay back your credit, but get credit because it's important and you need it. Okay, and then learn how to maximize that, how to maximize your credit. Right, to branch off from that, since we're talking about credit, let's talk about cards that people can get at certain phases in their process. Okay, if you're beginning, no credit at all, you wanna.
What, credit cards for beginners? Okay, so now we're going to talk about credit cards for beginners. Okay, so if I don't have any credit or if I have bad credit, what's a good card? So a good card to get is a Capital One secure credit card. Is usually they ask you to put down a deposit, usually like I said, up to $200, depending on what's already on your credit report. So if that you put down the $200, you sign up for it, they'll send you the card within say 2 weeks or so, and then you will have to start building your credit from that. You can't be late on it. You have to keep your utilization under 3%. And like I said, you have to do these every single month. And within that 3 to 6 month period, that's when you're going to start seeing your credit build up. You're going to see they'll probably send you a new secure credit card. We'll go into that more. But one of the best cards is a Capital One card because everybody knows Capital One. So that's one of the best cards to get when you're building up your credit.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, so you heard it. A secured, if you're beginning, a secure card. Capital One is a great choice. Any of the majors who offer a secure card, it'll be a good way to go. But Capital One is real good, right? You get that secure card, right? You make those payments, keep your utilization low, as Queen T said. After about 6 months, then they'll send you your deposit for that secured, and they'll turn your secured into an unsecured. What's the difference between secured and unsecured? Well, secured is your money, unsecured is their money. Plain and simple. That's the gist of it. We can go into it more, but that's the basis of it. Right, secured is going to be your money down. Unsecured is their money. Right, you've proven to the banks or the institution that you can manage money. So now they trust you. So now they're going to give you some of theirs. And that's what it is. So if you're beginning, secured, if you get to the point where you may be able to get approved for unsecured, again, we're gonna go Capital One Platinum. They have some other cards, but we're not going to touch those cards because the interest rates are just through the roof. Rather than go with the higher interest rates, this is another thing. Rather than go with the high interest rates, unsecured cards, it would be better to go with a secure card from one of the majors. Okay, the Capital One and the Discover and the Navy Federal, any of the majors who offer a secure, right? Because after that 6 month period, then they're going to turn it into unsecured, rather than go with a unsecured $300 limit from Open Sky or Finger HUD or Horizon Gold or Credit One or all these places, right, to where your interest rate is going to be 30%. All right, just go unsecured, wait that time, right? Be patient. Patience is a virtue. Or go secured with one of the majors and then go unsecured. All right. All right. So that's for beginners. Like a medium level card up. A few other ones. If you're in school, then and you can do like a Capital One Journey card. You can do a Discover Student It card. These are all for people who are students and in school. Yeah, your mid-level cards. Some mid-level cards. You can do a Discover It. Capital One Quicksilver. Capital One Saver.
Don't forget Navy Federal card as well.
Navy Federal. That's a good credit union. You always want to be with a credit union. That's a topic that we will touch on as well. Any more mid-level cards?
No, I think you covered the major ones.
Okay. High-end cards. There's a bunch of high-end cards, of course. Amex, Barclays, Chase, Freedom.
Discoveries are very high.
Yeah. I Discover. I forget the name of this cover. I Discover Cashback card. Barclays. Those are a few high-end cards. The Chase Sapphire, Amex Platinum, Amex Gold, Blue Sky, Cashback, Amex Green. All right, so those are.
But I think that, like I said, the point is to have patience, but make sure you start and get in where you fit in. If you have to maybe get a higher APR with the credit card, okay, get those, and then you're gonna move your way up.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to build that trust with you, and if you already have bad credit, they want to see if you can fix it. So you want to start at the bottom, then work your way up to the top.
That is true. All right, so ultimately, to sum it up, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. All right, and don't rush it. Be patient. Okay. Another topic to talk about as far as credit repair.
Since you were talking about the credit cards, I know one topic that you wanted to talk about was the different credit bureaus and the different credit cards and what bureaus they pull from. Since we were just talking about the different cards. So since we told you guys what cards to get at what level, here's what bureaus they pull from.
All right, so here we go. Let's just you get three scores across the board from the bureaus. Now you may have one that is substantially higher than the others. Let's just say that your Equifax is 680 and your TransUnion is 600 and your Experian is a 610, 620. Right? That your Equifax is the highest. Okay. Now your other two are not where they need to be yet, and they're not up there, right? But since you have Equifax, let's maximize that score to get some credit. All right. So what credit card companies pull from Equifax. You could apply with PenFed, Federal Credit Union. You could apply with DCU, Digital Credit Union. You could also apply with what is the other company that pulls from Equifax? And there's a few more companies that apply with CQ. CQ Credit Union pulls from Equifax. All right, so that's 3 different companies that you're able to open an account with, and these all are credit unions. And you're able to open up an account. All you need is a savings. Open up an account, right? You build a relationship, and they all pull directly from Equifax. Okay, right. And then let's do another scenario. Let's just say that your TransUnion is your 680 and your Equifax is at a 610 and your Experian is at a 620. Right, you still have to work on your Equifax and your Experian, but since your TransUnion is the highest, okay, let's see what we can use and get in who we can get credit from to maximize the TransUnion score. You could open up an account and apply with Navy Federal, right? They pull from TransUnion. You can also open up an account and apply with Alliant Federal Credit Union. They also pull from TransUnion. You can also open up an account with Barclays, or their lower level cards, right? They pull from TransUnion. You can also, I'm gonna give you one more. You can also open up an account with Tower Federal Credit Union. So I gave you 3 credit unions and 1 regular bank. Open up a savings account with either one of those credit unions, and now you have a relationship with them. You wait a week, then you can go back and apply, right? So you're maximizing your highest score. Let's go over to Experian. Same scenario. Experian has your 680 and your TransUnion is a 610 and your Equifax is a 620. Okay, well, let's maximize that higher score with Experian and let's get some credit. Who could we apply for? You could apply for Andrews Federal Credit Union. I like Andrews a lot. That's a